This is a baby with a whole lot of punch, I tell you that. Delightful little feather right here is the 2025 APA Summit. I always get excited anytime APA comes out with something new because you never know what's going on inside that manufacturing facility. They have created some of the most versatile bows that I've ever seen before, as far as the tools you get with being able to take the strings and cables off, change the timing, their little micro tune ordeal right here. They got a knock tuner, a broadhead tuner, all kinds of stuff. I've literally labeled this bow the Swiss Army knife of bows. And their objective has been to make the most innovative bow as far as being able to tune it, work on it in the field, and basically just have everything you need on the bow. And essentially that's what they've done. Building off of some of their previous platforms, they decided to go with as light and as short of a bow as possible. And that's pretty much what they've done here. They've got 28 inches axle to axle, little over 7-inch brace height, which is phenomenal on a short axle to axle bow, because the shorter the bow, the more aggressive the draw cycle is. So in order to counter that, you need to add a longer brace height. But something that APA is known for, and is still going to be known for, is their speed. Even though this bow has a little over a 7-inch brace height, like I said, their IBO claims are still in the 340 feet per second range. Now here's the deal with companies claiming that they have the lightest bow and this, that, and the other. They always feel light until you put stuff on them, and that's why I went ahead and put some of the bare essentials on here. It already came with the rest. It already put the stabilizer on and a sight. And let me go ahead and tell you, I would say that that bow is still barely pushing 5 pounds. Something new for 2025 is you see these little dimples right here. The string, one of the yoke cables is in one of them, and then you got one to the inside and one to the outside of it. That is pretty nifty, and let me tell you why. One of the terms we use behind the bow counter is yoke tuning. And when we're talking about the yokes, we're actually talking about these two cables that split, and one goes to both the outside of the limbs up top and the bottom. And a lot of times what we have to do to get a tear out or get cam lean out or anything like that is actually put it in the press. Well, with this, you don't have to put it in the press. It's got a tool where you can take everything off without a press. But anyways, you would put the bow in the press and actually take one of these yokes off, whichever side you need to adjust the tune, and either add or take away twist in order to get that cam lean out or get a tear out or whatever the case may be. Well, there's one literally minute issue with that, is if you have to put a lot of twist into one side of the yoke, it can change the timing on the bow, so then you got to retime it. Well, what they've done with these little slots right here is, instead of taking the yoke off and twisting it or taking twist out, you just move it further outside or further inside. And what that's going to do is change the load on whichever side of the limb you need to change it on in order to get that tune correct. One of the most popular items I get asked about on my APA Black Mamba Pro is the little winch that goes in here. They do have an integrated winch option for that bow, and it carries over to this bow as well, so that's an add-on. If you want that, it's really handy for obviously raising and lowering your bow out of the tree. You can check out one of my first YouTube videos from this past season and see me winding that bad boy up. How'd that happen? Of course, kept their famous little fang system right there for hanging on a tree branch or anything in general. Still got your little threads right here to mount a GoPro if you want to film your hunt. Now, something that is new is they now have an integrated mount option for the QAD arrow rest. So once again, getting smaller, getting sleeker, getting more streamlined, and essentially staying with the times. Now, a couple things that were pointed out to me that I didn't even realize was on my Black Mamba Pro that I got this past year is they've made it super easy to find your center shot, your knock height, all that good jazz, because it's already on the bow. If you look right here inside the riser, it's actually been machined out. So once you knock your arrow, you can actually put it in the vise and see if you've got a knock low or a knock high based on where they machined it on the riser in here. Something else that I didn't know about my last bow that this one still has, and once again, keep in mind guys, unless I had basically a projector on the side of my house right here, I'm not going to be able to remember everything off the top of my head that goes into this bow. I know you're going to say, well, Scotty, that's not a good job of doing reviews. It's an honest review. I'm doing the best I can. Bear with me, people. Basically, what I was getting at is the same post that comes built into the riser that obviously you can take out to put in the cams, to take the cables off, strings off, this, that, and the other. It actually has writing on there talking about where the center shot should be based off your arrow once you load it onto your rest. So it's got a little arrow that actually goes into the riser right here. And then when you actually load your arrow, just kidding, you got to have it preloaded and then put the post in. My bad. Told you, honest review. I don't know what I'm doing. Now once we get that bad girl knocked up, spin this around to where I can see the engravings. And according to this, my center shot is actually kicked off to the left just a hair. Once again, a lot of thought goes into making these bows that gets overlooked, period. It feels so weird. I mean, literally, it feels like a kid's bow, but it's not. It's a man's bow, I promise you. Oh yeah, still got that APA draw cycle. That's when you're pulling this thing back, you know whatever you hit with it, it's gonna hurt its feelings. Still got that. And once again, I said it, there's a truck going by. You can shift gears anytime, homie. I'm gonna still be working on CDLs. Once again, back to the draw cycle, or I think that's what I was talking about. This bow has so much kinetic energy. Whew, once you get it back, it locks in. The let off is nice, but this is a bow I tell people you need to condition yourself to shoot. And once again, this is a 70 pounder. They've got them available from literally 40 to 70 pound. And I think you get either 5 or 10 pounds of variance in the limbs. So this is just the pounders that I'm used to shooting. So that's what obviously they sent me. And you know, it's one of those ordeals where you do have to shoot it in order to stay comfortable with it, because it's not like the majority of the American bows out there. Most of our American bows have big cams, which are going to be a little bit more forgiving draw cycle, but they're not getting this speed, I promise. Some people are going to get the feelings here, oh, my bow is this fast, this fast. Yes, I understand that, but what you're missing out on is a lot of the kinetic energy and feet per second come from the cams on this bow, because in order to get an IBO speed of 340 feet per second, there's not many bows out there that can say that with over a 7-inch brace height. Normally it's a 6-inch or less brace height in order to get those speeds or more. I tell you what I just didn't realize, but now that that doesn't make sense. I didn't realize it because I didn't notice it because it's not there. So it feels extremely good on the shot. Like, and I'm talking about the vibration. Hold on, I need to pay attention to see how much or how little I do or don't do. Huh. So I guess the reason why that's shocking, but obviously not shocking, is because typically when a bow is this light, less material, less mass, less stuff there to absorb the vibration, right? I have to call him, see how he did this. That's a bow you could shoot a lot. All right, let's move on. That gum car going by. Who do these people think they are using a public road? So now draw cycle. I'm gonna draw it slow and try to give you a walkthrough. You really can't draw it slow. I mean, you can, you just got to be a bigger boy than me, or get one of these with lower poundage limbs. There's a little bit of a buildup at the beginning, and then it stays pretty constant until the end, and then you feel those cams roll over hard, and it is a limb stop. So once you hit that back wall, you know you're home. One last thing about this bow that I didn't mention in the beginning, because I just kind of make it up as I go. It's going to be hitting a new price point compared to the other APA flagship bows in the past. I was on the phone with the designer today, and he couldn't give me an exact price. It was going to be $100 one way or the other, it sounded like. But this bow is not going to retail for $1,900 bucks like the Black Mamba Pro did. From talking to him, and once again, don't hold me to this because this bow doesn't drop till next week, but it looked like it was going to be sub $1,400. That's a little bow with a lot of features compared to what you're paying versus what you're getting, and comparing it to other bows on the market, you're getting a lot. If you guys want to check out any of the details that I may or may not have missed, check out apaarchery.com. Appreciate y'all watching.